Hello, you guys, and welcome to this week's Phoenix Rising podcast episode. I am Ashley Drummond. I am super excited that you're here. If this is your first time, welcome. Basically, what this is all about is I am a fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach. And basically, my passion and my role is really helping give you the tools, the education, and the things that you need to overcome your mental limitations, break through plateaus, create the body and the life that you want. And I've been doing this for a long time. It's something I absolutely love because I get the opportunity to see clients of all ages really just lose body fat, get super strong and lean. They make more money. They break through limits they had with their career and other areas. And that's what this podcast is all about. So welcome. If you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and do so. Also, if you would like the opportunity to work with me as your fitness and mindset coach, head on over to ashleydrummonds.com. You will see all the places that you can fill out an application, schedule a call with me to talk about your goals, and really just decide if that's something that is a good fit for both of us. Again, that is ashleydrummonds.com. If you would like to work with me as your fitness and mindset coach. And honestly, after listening to today's episode, you may want to do exactly that because we're going to talk about, are you in the short game or the long game? And more than likely, once you answer this question, you're going to get really clear on why you have not gotten the results that you want in your fitness, with your body, in your workouts, your relationships, and anything else in life. And it has to do with your mindset. So on that note, let's get into today's episode. Beautiful fall morning. It is absolutely gorgeous outside. It is crystal clear skies. It's like 70 degrees. My heart is so happy just because it's one of those mornings where you wake up, you're like, oh my God, life is so good just because it's beautiful outside. So good morning. Maybe it's afternoon, maybe it's nighttime for you. I'm not sure, but regardless, I'm happy you're here. Be fully present. Let's get into today's topic, which is about being in the short game or the long game. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is actually it's twofold, maybe threefold, maybe quadruple fold. I don't know. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because understanding where your mindset is in your life on the short-term game or long-term game is really going to make a huge difference in not just the results that you get, but also in your behavior, the actions that you take, the energy that you bring, and the decisions that you make. So we're going to get into this. And what am I talking about? The short-term game, the long-term game. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but to make sure that you don't miss what I'm talking about, I'm pretty much referring to when you are making changes in your life. So you want to lose body fat and build lean muscle. It's the most common thing people send me messages to. Ashley, tell me exactly what to eat, how to work out, what I need to do to lose body fat and build lean muscle. First thing you have to ask yourself, are you committed to the long-term change of this, or are you looking for a short-term fix? Because the difference is when you're focused on the long-term game, you show up, you do exactly what I tell you to do. You're making serious life changes, not just looking for something to escape out of your present situation from. Did that make sense? Yes, it did. So hopefully that makes sense. And this is the same thing that's true in anything, in money, in friendships, in relationship. When you shift your mindset to long-term focus, you will make different decisions in each present moment because you are not looking for instant gratification and you are not looking to escape discomfort that you are currently experiencing. Now, you can desire and have the goal to change your current pain or current discomfort or something that you don't like with the intention of making it a lifestyle long-term change, not just, all right, how do I get out of this situation and quickly escape into the next one? And then you get in the next one and you find yourself in the exact same situation long-term. People do this all the time. They do this in relationships. I mean, how many times have you seen somebody get out of one relationship and right into another one with no time in between? It's because the mindset is they think, if I escape this one, then this new one has all of the answers and the solutions and everything that I'm looking for, and it'll be better. And then they get in the new one, and then what happens? Time goes by, the newness wears off, and all of a sudden, they are still in that new relationship with themselves that they brought from the old relationship. Same is true in careers. People bounce around. They jump from one job to a next, thinking like, God, I hate this job so much. Let me escape this one and hurry up and get into a new one. And it's fun in the beginning. And then you get there, and then a month later, you're like, damn, I'm back in the same situation. The same is true with your health and fitness. It's because as you move from thing to thing, if you don't change your mindset and your internal world with what's going on, you're going to take yourself with you. And this is the problem people don't like accepting. And specifically because I was talking about losing body fat, building lean muscle, and a lot of people come to me for this. When you have the idea in your head that, oh, it's my trainer, oh, it's this diet, oh, it's my doctor, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. And so you bounce around and you jump from one program to the next program. You try one 30-day cleanse, one 30-day fat loss. You're trying keto, paleo. You're doing 6 months of strength cycling and all this nonsense. And then you get in all these different programs and you're like, God, I still feel the same though. I mean, how many times does that happen? Here's what I ask people. And actually, I had this recently with a call with a prospective client. I said, let me ask you something. So you've been to doctors. So you've been seeing therapists for years. You've tried trainers. You've tried diets. You have tried all kinds of supplements. Here's my question for you. What is the common denominator in all of this? And they're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, yes, you do. Let's answer the question. What's the common denominator in all of these scenarios? And the answer is it's you. The whole world wants to blame everybody else on why things aren't working. Doctors don't know what they're talking about. Well, that's partially true. But is it the doctor's job to know more about you and your body than your job? This trainer isn't super motivating. Okay. Well, does that mean every time the trainer's not motivating that they now control how your body looks and how you feel? There's so many fast food restaurants everywhere. Healthy food is so expensive. Okay, so every time a fast food restaurant pops up, now you're going to gain weight. You're in a new environment. You're constantly giving away your power and your excuses to things outside of yourself. And like, I always like giving different analogies with this because sometimes maybe it's not applicable in your fitness or in your relationship. Maybe it works in your career. But because anytime you are not getting the results that you want, it has less to do with everything that you've tried and more to do with you and your mindset. And I got on a call this week with somebody that was interested in working with me as their coach. And they're like, I really, really have tried everything. I'm super frustrated. I want to lose about 10 pounds and I really want to tone and tighten up all over. I've been working out 4 to 5 days a week. I've been eating pretty clean. I don't know what's going on. And I mean, I kind of have to play a little bit of Sherlock Holmes with you, with everyone that comes to me for this. It's like, all right, tell me what you've tried. Like, let me see what is going on. And it's very easy for me to identify the patterns a lot of people have, mostly just because I identify the patterns in myself. So it becomes easier to be more self-aware. But so a lot of people go down this road. And like I've been saying, they tell me everything that they've tried. And then I ask the question, why do you feel like it hasn't worked? And it always starts out of, well, it's probably my age. You know, after 30, I just feel like your metabolism slows down. I'm not as active. Nobody really knows how to relate to people with these kind of hormone issues or this kind of metabolism. My genetics are kind of bad. Like my parents had this problem too. And it's all these things. And I just listen. And then I get to the place of like, okay, well, let me ask you something. How Are all those excuses serving you? Are they helping you? They're like, what do you mean? Those aren't excuses. I'm like, I mean, they kind of are though, because there's plenty of people in your exact situation and scenario that have a very similar background, but have a very different life. And then it kind of brings some different perspective. Because here's the truth. When you are focused on the long-term game and making real changes instead of short-term, and when you take 100% responsibility for your life, it's not that those excuses don't exist. They're very valid. They're very true, but I can find just as many excuses as why you can have what you want as you can find of why you can't have what you want. The difference is the mindset shift, what you believe, and what the focus is on. Here's the other thing too, is when you're focused on long-term solutions and making real long-term goals and changes, you don't get derailed so easily. And this is one of the common mistakes I see when I work with people is because they've done so many 30-day programs, 7-day cleanse, like quick fat loss, who knows, all these different things. Because you're so focused on the short term, if you make one mistake and you don't do it perfectly, immediately you feel like you've totally fallen off track and you might as well give up because it's going to further validate the belief that nothing really works and everything you try just seems to end up back in the same spot because you're focused on the short term and not the long term. I actually had this conversation too with a totally different client that was talking to me about, and this is what happens. Like I start working with people as their fitness and mindset coach, and it gets into everything with life because what you do in one area will show up as a recurring theme in all areas. If you feel stuck in your health and fitness, more than likely you are also feeling stuck with your money, with your career, with your friendships, with your relationships, with everything, because it's the vibration and the energy at which you are functioning from. So if you want to level up in any other area, I always tell people you have to start with one thing that you can actually control right now. So you can't necessarily, you can't necessarily go to your boss and be like, all right, I want 3 times the money I'm making. You can't go to other people and be like, hey, this relationship isn't quite up to the status quo of what I want. Here's what I want. Go make some changes. You can't do any of that because that's still putting the responsibility outside of yourself. You have to go inside, make the changes with you, and inevitably, it's going to create a ripple effect on the outside and things are going to start to change. And I'm not going to talk about all the changes that occur because it's totally different. What I'm talking about is you right now. And there's a concept actually, I don't know what it is. It's not Buddhism. It's not law of attraction. Whatever. It's a mindset concept. It's psychology. It's vibrational energies. And basically what it is when you feel like everything in your life is, say it's chaotic. All right. Say you've got like a tornado going on and everything just feels uprooted. And you're like, it's my home, it's my relationship, it's my career, it's my fitness. Like everything is just up in the air. And you're trying so hard to get movement and momentum in one area. And you're like, God, if anything could just break through. Here's the problem. If you put this into like literal focus in your life, so like wherever you are right now, imagine that everything around you is swirling, or do the whole exercise when you're standing on one foot. So like the quad stretch, when you pull your heel behind you and you stretch your quad and people are standing on one foot and they can't find their balance because their whole body is moving. What's the first thing you do? Find a point of focus. As soon as somebody finds that point of focus, what happens? Now all of a sudden they can balance because they're not trying to do all of it. The same is true in your life. So when you've got all this stuff going on, everything is moving. It's a good thing, but when you're not getting momentum, you have to find a point of focus. And when you find a point of focus, it naturally makes everything else come into balance and respond to your point of focus. So how this relates to your health and fitness is I tell people if you are having problems getting movement and breaking through plateaus in your career, in your money, in your business, in relationships, in any other area in your life, you cannot control things outside of you. What you can control is what's inside of you and your mindset and your long-term focus. Therefore, What we have to do is get you to focus on one thing you have control over, and we have to break through in that one area. And then automatically, by focusing on that, just like with that stretch, everything else has to respond. So I work with people. I'm like, all right, here's what we're doing for your workouts. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be tough, and I know it's going to push you, and you're not going to like it, and you're going to have days where you want to quit, and all this stuff is going to go on because your workouts are a physical representation of the emotional and mental limitations you have going on internally. In order to break through those, you got to trust me, push through these physical limits, and then you're going to start to see things shift in other areas of your life. And the same is true with nutrition. And I've always felt if you can make one change in one area of your life, it directly transfers over to other things. So getting back to the short-term and the long-term game. Let's say that you want to make a huge shift in your career. You want to up-level your career, or you want to up-level your business, and you have no idea how to do that right now. You're like, I don't even know. Where do I start? What direction do I want to go in? How much money do I want to make? What do I want to do? You're looking at all the wrong things. Think of that like anything that shows up for you in that sense, like on the surface. Think of it like going to the doctor to treat a symptom. It is a symptom of something deeper that's going on, but you're trying to treat the symptom and not the cause. So going back to this analogy, so you got this career and you're like, kind of stuck. Feel like I've hit a plateau. I want to level up. I don't know how. So now you're searching careers. Now you're searching job opportunities. Now you're figuring out all these things. Problem is, you cannot get to a new level with the same mindset that got you to the level that you are currently at. So here's what I tell you and everybody else to do. Go get a coach that's basically going to kick your ass in the gym, because when you make those small mental breakthroughs in your workouts, it is inevitable that you will make those breakthroughs in other areas of your life, because what we don't need to fix is all this external stuff going on. We don't need to find you a new job right now. We don't need to find you a new relationship right now. We don't need to find any of that. What we need to do is treat the cause that is creating all of these symptoms. And how we do that is the neurological brain and mental patterns that created the environment that you are in right now. So stop being focused on the short term, because if you just jump from one thing to the next looking for an escape from your current reality, you will find yourself in the exact same reality, but with new situations, new people, and new places. You're going to feel the same. So first, we have to shift your mindset to get you focused on what you want long term. Do the internal work first, and then you won't even have to hardly try to change your external. All of a sudden, the right opportunities, the right people, the right places that are going to help you level up will just show up, and then you have a choice whether or not you want to make that leap. So another example of this, let's think about this with dating. All of these scenarios are simply to help you understand so that you can apply this to your life. So let's think about this with dating. If you're focused on the short term would be maybe you're lonely, maybe you are just tired of, I don't know, whatever. So let's focus on dating. Let's say you're dating and your focus is, I want to escape loneliness and being alone, to the point where I don't even care who I'm with. I'm just going to date whoever, because at least it gets me from being alone. So what happens? You show up, you're going on these dates. There are a million opportunities for you where you don't have to be alone. And there are a million dating apps and people on these dating apps that match the vibration of not being alone. They don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone. Congratulations, you're a match. So then you show up to this. You're super needy. You're probably over the top, trying way too hard. You're trying to show your best self and prove your worth, and like, please just date me. Please pull me out of this loneliness. And you're both doing it. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, great. This person doesn't want to be lonely either. I don't want to be lonely either. let's do this together. And you get in it, and about a month in, you're like, oh, this is great. I have some money. Now I don't have to deal with that. And then what happens? A few months later, you feel more alone in the relationship than when you weren't in a relationship, because you never actually changed what was going on. And instead, you were just trying to escape one reality without trying to actually change yourself first. So the other opposite end of this, where you would be long-term focused. Also, think about that too. Going back to like what I was saying in the beginning of this, of like, you can find as many excuses for why things don't work as to why they do work. You can find as many people who are also in the short-term game as you can find people in the long-term game. It's just you have to shift your focus. So the way you would do this differently, using the dating scenarios, if you're long-term focused, you ask yourself, all right, if I'm in the long-term game, what do I actually want in a partner? What am I looking for? What kind of qualities and characters do they have? Who do I have to become in order to have that kind of relationship? Who do I see myself with? Then, when you're showing up and you're meeting people, you're showing up as your truest self. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to show you're worth something, because you already know you are. You're not trying to hurry up and rush. You're taking your time. You want to learn this other person. You want to discover all about them. You want to get to know them. Because one, you're not lonely. You don't match that vibration. Two, you're not trying to get in a relationship to escape loneliness. And three, you want somebody else who also matches your long-term focus. It's a very different energy with a very different result. This is what happens with your health and fitness too. You're trying all these diets because you just want to escape where you are. You're so tired of feeling like crap. You're tired of your clothes not fitting. You're tired of feeling like when you show up somewhere, you don't feel good about who you are or like you're your best self, and you have these insecurities that seem to almost present themselves before you can present yourself. That was bad grammar, whatever. So you're trying all these diets. You're coming to me, Ashley, tell me exactly what to eat. How do I fix this? I'm getting married in 2 months and I just want to drop a bunch of weight. Ashley, I've tried every program out there. I've been working out 4 to 5 days a week and nothing is working. Ashley, I've gone to a therapist for 5 years and I still am not happy, and I'm struggling with anxiety and all these problems. Well, is it because you're looking to treat a symptom, or do you want to actually treat what's going on deep down inside of you, which more than likely stems from the feeling of not being good enough, not being capable, the belief that nothing actually works, feeling like you don't have the resources to have what you want, or maybe you're putting all the blame and responsibility on other people and not taking responsibility for yourself. So you're constantly disempowering yourself, giving it away to things outside of you. This is the point. Do you want to really change your life? If you want to change your life, I can help you do that. But you have to shift your mindset and your focus from, am I making decisions based on what I want long term? Or am I making decisions with a short-term mindset, just looking for immediate gratification like everybody else in the world is looking for? The other thing too is when you shift to more of a long-term focus, it's interesting how much more patient you become in the process. The process no longer frustrates you because you understand what it's producing and the long-term outcome you're getting. And I had this personal experience recently with business, because, and it's totally natural when you start something new, you immediately are excited. You're working a ton. You're trying to make things happen quickly. And it's very much a fine line of like balance and long-term focus without coming out the gate too hot and burning out. So I felt myself getting to the point where I was like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to work on these goals. I want to get up. I want to go to the gym. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do all these action items that I need to do for my business. And this is it. Like, this is my total focus. I don't care about anything else. And I do this, and this is a pattern and a habit I have that I have to be hyper aware of. And I'm doing it, and I've been reflecting a lot lately and just like thinking about like long term. And I was like laughing at myself because I was like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't, let me figure this out. Like, why am I trying to hurry up and make this happen? Like, I already have the confidence that these goals are going to happen. There's literally no rush in it. And if I take that approach, then I am more in the energy of enjoying this journey, knowing that I have a ton to learn, but the learning becomes fun and the process becomes fun because this is my life. This is my lifestyle. This isn't something that like in a year, I'm going to do something totally different. And when you use that energy, and I'm using this personal example because like immediately it was like I exhaled. I took a different approach. My time became easier. I stopped tensing and stressing. Not that I was stressing, but just like feeling like this sense of urgency. And my energy is different. And it feels good. It feels better. But I have to shift my mindset. So it's something you have to practice all the time. But anytime you feel frustrated, you feel lost, you feel stuck, you feel just like completely, I don't know, completely let down or like, you know what, screw this. Like I give up. When you get in that place, ask yourself, is it because you're trying to fix something overnight? Because if so, then I mean, that makes total sense why you feel the way you do. So why not start with shifting to the long-term focus of what you want? Here's the thing too, going back to the symptoms, and I totally skipped this. I started to tell the story and then I totally forgot with a totally different client. And we were talking about like this mindset shift of like, you have to continually practice making it a habit, a new habit to focus on the long term. But they were speaking in regards to their spouse, and they've just been having all of these problems over and over. And my job is not to just be here and let you vent. That's what a therapist does. A therapist is there to give you the safe space to vent. My job is to give you a safe space that you can tell me what's going on. But then the reason I'm here as your coach is to give you the hard truth and the reality and the tools to make the changes so that you do not continue to have the same symptoms. So what I mean by that is this particular client is complaining to me and talking to me about what's going on with their spouse, and they're frustrated because they're making all these changes and they want to do all these things. And it's been years of the same stuff going on. And I asked this client, I said, well, okay, first we got to get to the bottom of this. Number one, I understand exactly where you're coming from. That is very frustrating and very hard to deal with. I have a ton of compassion and empathy for you. I've been there. And now my question is, one, do you actually want to change this so that you stop experiencing this situation? Obviously, the answer is yes. I said, okay, number two, do you take total responsibility for your life and how it basically unfolds? Yes. Okay. Number three, I can't answer this for you. Only you can. And if you're not ready to answer this, that's okay. Do you feel like your spouse is the person for you in the long game? And this client responded with, well, what do you mean? They're my spouse. I said, that's not what I asked you. Yes, you made a commitment. I understand that. I am asking you if in your heart and soul, you feel like when you're 90 years old, sitting on your porch, if this person that you are having these problems with is the person that you see yourself by your side in the long game. And it's funny because when I asked this question, this client like paused for a long time because they actually weren't sure. And they were like, I don't know. I was like, okay, that's all right. You're being honest with yourself. It's okay if you don't know. That's a good thing because it means that you're asking the question, you're being honest, and you're being present. Regardless though, here's the truth that I told this client, and the same applies to you, to anything that is applicable to this situation. Here's the truth. With that number three, with the answer, If it's not your long-term game, and if you're being honest, so we've already established you don't want to continue to experience these same problems. You take responsibility for your life. Number 3, being honest, this isn't really what you see yourself or who you see yourself with 80 years from now. And 80 is just, ignore the number. I'm just trying to make this applicable. If that's the case, then all of these problems that you are having, that you're telling me you're having, are symptoms. And there's nothing you can do about symptoms. Because the cause is that deep down, you don't feel like your spouse is really who your long-term game is with. You keep telling me about these symptoms. You keep telling me what's going on. And I hear you and I empathize with you. But if you really want to make the change, ignore all the symptoms and ask yourself the hard questions and the truth, because then the symptoms no longer exist because you've alleviated what's really causing them. Because the flip side is true. I have had other people where I ask them very similar situations and they're like, yes, this person, this is my long-term game. And I say, okay, great. Everything you're saying then is just noise. It doesn't matter. They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, if you are truly in this for the long run, is this really where you want to put your energy? Where you want to put your focus? If this person is who you want to be with, then everything else you're telling me, the problems you're having that you've been having for years, it's just noise. It's just a distraction. You got to focus on, like, in the long run, does this really matter? Does it matter that they don't clean the house? No, it doesn't. Use it for your job. Does it matter if this boss doesn't promote you, if this job isn't really your end game to begin with? No, it doesn't. You're complaining about them not promoting you is just a symptom of a deeper problem that really you're unhappy in the job that you have and you want more. Then change that. Change that problem. Don't get mad at your boss. You don't even care about your boss. You also don't even care about the job that you have. So why complain about not getting promoted when in the long run, that's not even what you want to begin with? Apply this to your health and fitness, guys. It's the same freaking thing. I almost dropped an F-bomb there. It's the same thing. What's your symptom? You're tired. You don't like that your clothes don't fit. You don't like the way that you look. When you look in the mirror, you don't feel confident in who you are. You don't like the way your body looks. You don't feel good in relationships. Okay. Well, number 1, do you take responsibility? Number 2, do you want to, I think I said it backwards. Number 2, do you really want to make this change? Number 3, what's your long-term game? If your long-term game is you want to be strong, you want to look and be fit, you want the best health you've ever had, you want to feel confident and good inside and out, okay, great. Then you know what? You come work with me. Let's do that, and I will help you get there. But if your focus is you just want something to make you feel better really quick for a couple weeks or 30 days, I can't help you. Nobody can. Because you'll keep trying every trainer, you'll keep trying every therapist, you'll keep trying every doctor to treat the symptoms because you refuse to look at what's really going on deeper, that is the cause. When you treat the cause, you alleviate all the symptoms. So wherever you are, whatever you're working on, whatever you're seeking resolution or solutions, might be the same thing, from, ask yourself, am I seeking this from the mindset of short term or long term? If it's from short term, shift to your long term mindset and you're going to bring a different energy. You're going to take different actions and you're going to make different choices in life. If you're doing it from short term, you're going to find yourself on a new podcast with a new person with the exact same problems you had on the last one because you're not taking responsibility and doing what you need to do to make the changes. And that's the truth. Now, the truth is the part that only you can give. Like I ask clients, do you really want to make the change? Are you going to be honest with yourself? Like, Act like nobody else exists and ask yourself the hard questions and then sit with the hard truth, because it's the only way you can make change. It's the only way you can take your power back in life and really have what you want. But if you have been stuck, feeling like you have hit a plateau, feeling like nothing is working, I can almost guarantee it's because you are treating short-term symptoms. And what I want to help you with is treat causes so that you can have what you want in the long term. And if you would like my help with that, like I said at the beginning, go to ashleydrummons.com. It's very different what I do. And it's funny because I know this and I say that from the most humble place, but every time I start working with somebody new, they're like, I've never had anybody talk to me about this stuff in the mindset game. I've never had anybody teach me nutrition like this. I've never had anybody explain to me what's going on with my body and with my life and my energy and my vibration. It kind of makes me laugh because I'm like, yeah, I know, but this is exactly why you haven't gotten the results that you wanted, because this is what you have to do to make serious changes in your life. So if you are serious about that, I would be more than happy to hop on a call with you and help you with that. Tell me everything in detail. Let's be honest with each other of what's going on. And then I will be totally honest with you on whether or not I can help you based on if you are focused on short-term or long-term goals. A little practice you can do with this too is when I do work with clients, I have them describe their dream life and work backwards. And I won't go into detail with this because it's very personal in how we do this. But basically, it's kind of like the 5 wishes on your deathbed. But basically, if you could project yourself into the future life and you had the future life that you wanted on every aspect, the career, the relationship, the money, the body that you wanted, if you're there, what choices would you make now? What things would you immediately change? Because from that perspective, you're taking responsibility and you're taking control of your life and you're empowering yourself to create what you want. Then nothing else matters. All right, guys. I hope that gives you a little bit of a jump start and a lot to really just process. I'll say it one last time. If you want my help making long-term change in your life around your nutrition, your fitness, and your mindset, go to ashleydrummons.com and we will talk about that. In the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you enjoy this wonderful, beautiful fall weather. And I hope that you really go out there and take the opportunity to create the life and the body that you want. And I will see you in next week's Phoenix Rising podcast episode.